Shalom. So today we're going to look at Colossians 2 and verse 16. It says, "Let no man therefore judge you in meat. Let no man therefore." So this is coming from something else, so we'll have to read further up. So let's go to verse 14. It says, "Blotting out the handwriting of ordinances that was against us, which was contrary to us, and took it out the way, nailing it to his cross." So it's talking about the removal of judgment for grace, right? So the sacrificial law, the law of animal sacrificing, right? That has been taken out the way and replaced with something else. So it says, "Let no man therefore judge you in meat, or in drink, or in respect of an holy day, or of the new moon, or of the Sabbath days." So we have to go back to the old covenant to see what is it talking about when it says, "Let no man judge you in meat." So we're going to go to the book of Ezekiel, chapter 45, and we're going to read verse 17. It says, "And it shall be the prince's part to give burnt offerings and meat offerings and drink offerings in the feasts and in the new moons and in the Sabbaths." Right? So when Colossians says no man should judge you in meat, it's talking about the sacrificing of animal that we usually do on the feast days, the new moons, the Sabbaths, and so forth, right? Because in this time period in Colossus, what was happening is that they were going around, they did not understand the removal of judgment, right? So they did not understand grace. So what they were doing was still keeping that law of animal sacrificing. So when they see other people who understood were not doing it, they were going around condemning these people. Hey, why you not keeping the new moons? Hey, why you not doing that? Where is this for the, you know what I mean? So let's go to understand the details of this. So we're gonna look at the meat offering first. So we're gonna go to First Chronicles 23 and 29. It says, "Both for the shewbread and for the fine flour for meat offering, and for the unleavened cakes, and for that which is baked in the pan, and for that which is fried, and for all manner of measure and size." So what you're understanding is meat offering comes from wheat, your fine flour, right? And as you know, it's 2/10, right? So your unleavened bread, whatever you do, you bake or fry, whatever is done there, it is your meat offering, right? Now let's go to Leviticus chapter 2 and verse 14. It says, "And if thou offer a meat offering of thy first fruits unto the Lord, thou shalt offer for the meat offering of thy first fruits green ears of corn dried by the fire, even corn beaten out of full ears." So corn, so your meat offering is basically what? We're going to go to Genesis chapter 1 and we're going to jump down to verse 29. It says, "And God said, Behold, I have given you every herb bearing seed which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree in the which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed, to you it shall be for meat." Right? So this is also what happens when you're looking at something from two different cultures, because we live in a culture where we consider meat as just the flesh of animals. But this is a whole different culture. So we have to be careful of what eyes, what lens we are reading this book with. So your meat offering does not come from the flesh of animals, but from herbs, right? Now it says to not judge with drink offering. Let's go to see the details of drink offering. So we're going to go to the book of Exodus, chapter 29 and verse 40. It says, and with 1 lamb a tenth deal of flour mingled with the 4 part of an hin of beaten oil, and the 4th part of an hin of wine for a drink offering. So what you'll realize is different um, different sacrifices come with different amounts of drinking, right? Different portions depending on what you're offering. So let's look at another example in the book of Numbers, chapter 15 and verse 7. It says, "And for a drink offering thou shalt offer the 3rd part of an hin of wine for a sweet savor unto the Lord." So you see here it's talking about third, because this says you're dealing with a ram here. So like I said, different portions for different animals. Now we're going to go to verse 10. It says, "And thou shalt bring for a drink offering half an hin of wine for an offering made by fire, of a sweet savor unto the Lord." So this is for a bullock. So you see different portions go by what you're actually offering. So now it talks about the feast day, right? Leviticus 23, we have the Passover, the unleavened bread, the Pentecost, the trumpet, the atonement, Hanukkah, which is the feast of dedication, right? All of those feasts that we have in Leviticus 23, which you'll find new moon and Sabbath there, but I just put the holy days, right? Now, whatever was offered on these days, you don't have to offer them anymore. So if you're going to celebrate Passover, guess what? You don't have to go through all that process where you separate the one that you're going to kill 4 days before the Passover and the 10th day of the first month. You don't have to go through that, right? And the importance of doing that is you don't want to be chasing an animal when you're going to slaughter it, because you don't want to have all that blood rushing, right? So you want to keep the animal calm and so forth. So this is why you separate it 4 days before, right? That was our ancient culture. Um, the way they slaughter animals in this culture is very different from the way we're accustomed to. So it's important to understand your heritage, understand about these animals, right? Now we're gonna go to the new moon. Let's go to same book of Numbers, chapter 10 and verse chapter 28 and verse 10, right? It says, "This is the burnt offering of every Sabbath." Okay, I made a mistake there. Sabbath is at the last part. So let's just do it. "This is the burnt offering of every Sabbath, beside the continual burnt offering and his drink offering." Right? Now, what is the details of this? Listen, "And on the Sabbath day, 2 lambs of the first year without spot, and 2/10 deals of flour for a meat offering, mingled with oil, and the drink offering thereof." Right? So what you're going to see here, you're going to see something very interesting, because in John chapter 8 or 9, where there was a situation with the blind man, the physical blind, which was that man that was blind from birth, and there was a spiritual blind, which was the Pharisees, right? That was symbolic. And we see a lot of that today, right? Because the physical blind know he is blind, right? And he's humble enough to believe and to understand, right? Because he knows he's blind. So he knows something is wrong. The spiritual blind is the total opposite, right? They have a hard time discerning, because what we're seeing here is there's a distinction between a Sabbath and a new moon, right? Now let's go to verse 10. It says, "And in the beginning of your months," in other words, new moon, "ye shall offer a burnt offering unto the Lord 2 young bullocks, and 1 ram, 7 lambs of the first year without spot, and 3/10 deals of flour for a meat offering." Okay, I'm not going to go into all the other details, right? So what you're seeing here, right, if a blind man should go in the temple back then and he can smell the bullocks, the ram, the lambs, and so forth, he would know that, okay, today is a new moon based on the scent of the offerings, right? But on the Sabbath, you would have just two lambs. You can discern with the scent. So even if you don't know what day it is, if the physical blind man does not know what date it is, right? He can know based on what is being offered. So if someone says, okay, they're offering two lambs, one ram, seven lambs, he knows that, okay, today is a new moon. That's discerning. Today, there are so many spiritual blind that cannot understand that a new moon is a new moon. A Sabbath is a Sabbath, which comes 6 working days after a new moon, right? So once it is the beginning of the cycle of the moon, it is a new moon, not a Sabbath. Anything after that is a Sabbath, right? So it's important for us to understand what it means when it says, "Let no man judge you in meat or in drink or the holy days," right? You still keep the days for a memorial. You teach your children what it is for, what happened on the Passover, and so forth, right? What the Most High did for us, right? You keep that tradition, but what is being taken away is the offering of animals, right? Because you were not keeping a Passover where you were going to a shop and buying a piece of lamb. No, you're killing a whole lamb. It is not the physical thing that you were eating. It is the blood itself, right? That's the important part when you're dealing with rites or rituals. It is the blood that counts, right? So that's it on that. Shalom.